So today I want to talk to you about something when you already have an existing supplier and your supplier starts increasing the price, changing the MOQ, or doesn't confirm with your changes anymore. Now, or does any other kind of funny thing and messes around with your business. And it will happen at some point. At some point this will happen, and this is actually a point where people always underestimate how important supply chain is. Like, we all want to have our products sourced really quick, and everything should be easy and smooth and fast. But we always underestimate how important it is to have a proper supply chain. And that means to have a supplier that doesn't mess around with us. But you know what? It's gonna happen. Like, sooner or later, your supplier is gonna mess around with you. They're gonna be doing something. They're gonna change their quality. Something's gonna happen, you know. And the more products you have, the more often this is gonna happen. So very first of all, before I kind of tackle what you can do about it, I want to let you know that I want to kind of point out that you have to have a backup supplier. That's the very first thing to avoid that. So there are kind of two things you can do. The very first thing is to change your supplier, to look for a new one. But if you found the first one already, especially if you have many products, if you found the first one already, you'll know that that takes a lot of time, right? Sourcing your product can take, I don't know, a couple of months, can take weeks, can take even longer if you have like a custom-made tool or a custom-made item. So it's really important that you have a backup supplier in the first place. So when you first source your product, that you reach out to multiple suppliers, that you get multiple quotations, that you get multiple samples, that you start developing your product or kind of branding your product with your logo with more than one supplier. And then make the choice for one supplier, but keep the second one so that you can always go back to the second one if the first one starts playing around. Then the second point is to always make a quality control with the first supplier. So even if your supplier already, you know, produced, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4 times, always keep making quality controls, keep making sure the quality stays the same, because they're gonna start playing around with it. They're gonna start cutting costs. They're gonna start to employ people or change their employees. They're gonna start to, you know, have new people in that don't know what they're doing, and things are gonna happen. Okay, so very first, make sure to have a backup supplier. Make sure to keep controlling the supplier that you have, and then go back to them, so that kind of you can avoid those product problems in the first place. Also, what you want to do is you want to build a relationship with the supplier. So that's something that people forget all the time, that if you're sourcing your product in China, it doesn't mean that, you know, you're kind of going to Walmart and buy your product and then go out with it, and like there's no interaction, there's no relationship with that, right? But when you source your product here and when you build your supply chain, it's so important that you build a relationship with your supplier, right? I think too many people approach this way, that they say, well, look, I'm giving them my money, right? So that should be enough. I'm giving money, they're giving a product, right? So it's an exchange. But there's a lot more to that, especially in China. There's more to that in your countries as well. As soon as you go and you do anything, you hire a carpenter or whatever you do, even in your job, there's got to be some sort of relationship that you build with the people you buy from, or the people that buy from you, or the customers of a company you work with. There's some kind of relationship, right? And I think people forget that when they source products in China, that to build this kind of relationship. So if you have an existing supplier and they start to mess around and want to increase the prices because material costs have gone up, you know, you better build a relationship with them to avoid these things. So if you're never gonna become friends with them, right? But as soon as you have a better relationship with them, then they can't do these things. You build up your face, right? So what does that mean? If you have an existing supplier and you want to visit them, you know, like at one point you want to go and see their factory, you want to visit their sales team, you want to maybe even meet the owner of the company if it's not too huge of a thing, right? You want to go to China, you want to visit when they're on the Canton Fair, when they're exhibiting, you want to see their booth. When you're working with a trading agency, you want to maybe visit them in Hong Kong. This is all things that, of course, you do once you have an existing supplier, or once you're a little bit further in your business. So it's not something that is mandatory when you're just starting, right? When you're just starting, or when you don't have the funds to go to China yourself, there are still ways to build your relationship. One of the best ways actually is to hire a sourcing agent for that. So even if you're already, like if you have your supplier and you didn't use an agent to find them, you can still use an agent to build a relationship. So what that means is that if you have the right agent, you can ask them to now, handle the communication with your supplier, and they already know how to build a relationship with them, right? So you can ask them what are the best practices there. You can introduce the factory and the agent, and then ask the agent to do a little bit of relationship building. It starts with just following up on holidays. When it's Chinese New Year, send them a message, you always expect to get messages on Christmas or on, New Year or whatever it is. Just make it a habit to find out what are the Chinese holidays and send your supplier messages in that time, right? There's more than just the Chinese New Year. There are other holidays here. There's the national holidays. There are single days. There are teacher days. There are so many little holidays that you can reach out to your supplier and just start building a relationship, or reach out to your agents and keep up the relationship. Because as soon as you strengthen that bond with your supplier, things are going to get a lot better, okay? And they can't mess around with you too much if you already have that bond and have that relationship. But we always forget that, we have to put the work in, because you can't underestimate supply chain. It's so important that you don't underestimate what do you do if your supply chain breaks, right? What do you do if your supplier doesn't work with you anymore? What do you do if your quality goes wrong? What do you do, like if it's especially if it's more than one product that you have, especially if I have a client and I think he's got 30 products at one supplier, right? And so what do you do if that supplier starts messing around with you? Right, they are in control, and if you hand over the control completely to your supplier, you have a problem. So if you're on that kind of stages where you have multiple products with one supplier, or where you have multiple suppliers in China already, and you're already selling and you're already in business, make sure to visit them. Just go to China, use the chance to go to the Canton Fair, go to the Hong Kong fairs. They're in April and they're in October, November. Make sure to go. Like it's so important. Just build the relationship, show up, show your face, invite them for food. They're gonna insist on paying. Just go pay secretly. Like build the bond, build the relationship. That's just kind of a quick take on what you can do when your supplier starts messing around. And of course, at one point, at one point you need more suppliers. You need backups. Try to build out your relationship though. So before you go into finding a new supplier and building, new relationships and finding new factories that you can work with on that can produce your product, just try this first, because it's going to take weeks and months to find a new supplier, find a new manufacturer for your thing. So make sure that you build a relationship, have that bond. And if you can't go to China yourself, just very first make sure that you know what Chinese holidays are, so you can go back to the persons that you're dealing with and just send them a message. Just be nice. And then the second thing is that you hire a sourcing agent to build a relationship. So you hire the agent to say, hey, now you take care of future orders. You get the samples before production, which is the thing you should do anyway. So before you order, or before you place your reorders, you always have to get a sample again that to confirm the quality, right? So let your agent handle that. And by the way, we have an agent platform. The access fee to that is around $600. So where we have vetted agents that we personally work with in our business, that you can choose and handpick and work with. If you want to get free access to that, you get that with the Easy Peasy Sourcing Online Coaching Program. To check that out, just head over in the comments. There's a free web class that goes around 1.5 hours, and at the end of the web class, I'll make you a special offer to that training. And if you'd want to find an agent yourself, head over. There's a training that's called the Supplier Extraction Training. That's all about finding your supplier. And within that training, I'm also going to teach you how I find my sourcing agents and how you can do the same. That's pretty much wrapping up today's video, because I just wanted to shoot a quick message to you and quickly introduce you to an alternative option to what you can do when your supplier increases the price. Because I see all these videos out there that are so, I don't even know how to say that, like people are so competitive when it comes to suppliers. Like you're working with them, right? And everyone makes it seem like they're working for you, but you really have to make sure that you work with the supplier together. So that's one of the things that I just wanted to reach out to you for. And instead of just listening to all the people that, you know, give you the advice to negotiate hard and don't let them take any advantage of you, and, you know, have your, whatever it is, you know, increase your order volume so that the price stays down. Whatever tip you get out there, that's all okay, and it all has their place to negotiate. You should always do that anyway, but start building a relationship. Don't see your supplier just as a person that works for you. You have to work with them. You have to make sure that, you know, don't take it all so easy. It's not like you're going in a shop and you're buying a product. It's really, you have to build a bond. Like, think about it in terms of when you're doing anything in your country. It's the same situation. The more of a bond you have. If you know someone who has a carpenter shop or who's a plumber, and they come to you and you hire their business, it's a whole different thing. That they're never gonna overcharge you. You know what I mean? They're gonna be nice to you. They're gonna make you a reasonable price. They're gonna make a good price to you. So why not use the same situation, use the same scenario when you source your products in China? You should think about that. And yeah, that's pretty much my message for you. So before you start negotiating, before you go into anything, just build that bond, build a relationship, find your sourcing agent. If you like this message, please share it. Comment below what you think about this kind of approach. It's such an easy approach. Just be nice to your supplier, acknowledge them, and things will be so much easier. So let me know what you think about that tip. Put it in the comments below. Share this video if you liked it. Give it a like, show me some love, and I'll catch you tomorrow.